You are listening to The Growth Signal. My name is Alyssa Nolte,
And I'm Nathan Wolter.
and we're going to get right into it. Okay, Nathan, what is your hot take?
Yeah, so you as a business owner, your 99 problems are really just one. And I hate to tell you, be the one to tell you, but it's actually you. And it's not because you're a bad leader. It's because every business, if you're not careful, eventually begins to run at the capacity of its owner. And the good news that is, if you're the problem, you can also become the solution.
I feel like you need to make a full-on rap that's like, I got 99 problems and I am all of them. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I immediately heard that when you said, like, we've got 99 problems and you're the one. And like, I could immediately hear that rap in my head. You gotta call Jay-Z, get him on that.
Right.
I love that. And I relate to that so much as a business owner because I feel like I have all of these things that are on my plate and all of these things that I can do really well, right? Like I've started this business for a reason. I can do all of these things. I can make it happen. But when I have 100 things that require 100% of my attention, then I am doing 100 things with 1% of my real true skill and capacity. So if we're kind of in wild agreement that, we all got 99 problems and we are all 99 of them, how do we start to get out from underneath that? Because I got to tell you, I didn't get into starting a business to, you know, I should have known better, but to do my 24/7, 100 hours a week, right? I got in it to do something I love. So how do I get out from resenting the 100 things that I've got on my list?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And some people don't even know that they're in that position, right? They just think it's the way of life. This is what it is as a business owner. So the first thing is, a realization of that's what's going on. And there's a couple key things that may resonate with people as I say in here. But if you're hearing statements like you get a call or somebody stops by and says, "Hey, we're not sure how you want us to handle this." That's a key thing. So we are not sure how you want us to handle this. That right there, that statement saying that they don't know what you're thinking and they don't know how you're going to handle it. Therefore, you need to give them some structure, right? You need to give them a little bit of I guess structure with all of that. And that means you're delegating a task, but not responsibility. And so think about that a little bit on that phrase. Other things people will hear in our some key notes I listen for is we need your input. Can you give us direction? We need you to figure this out. Is another one. Hey, we're stumped. Can you figure this out for us? Those are just some of those phrases that I hear. That's like, okay, we need to take a step back and we need to figure out why this is happening. Kind of like, you know, you can't be the head chef and the person washing the dishes, right? It has nothing to do with you not doing work that's, there's no work that's beneath you, but it's about spending as much time as possible on the things that the business really needs you to focus on. Um,
Yeah.
and with your skill set, and that's unfortunately not washing dishes.
One of the conversations that my husband and I have had, because I've been like a lifelong entrepreneur on accident. There's a whole story behind that we don't have time to get into, but he he does business valuation
Mm.
for he's a CPA. So one of the things he has is his business valuation, and we were having this conversation not too long ago, and he was talking about this concept in valuation called highest and best use. And it's particularly relevant to like commercial properties, right? So if you have a high traffic area with lots of foot traffic and lots of like other retail stores around, the highest and best use for that commercial property from a valuation perspective is a retail shop, a coffee shop, a place that requires and thrives on high demand. What you shouldn't be putting there is a factory that has security where we don't want to have people coming around and being around, right? And so he said to me one time, he goes, "You need to look around at all the things that you are doing, and are you maximizing that activity? Are you the best person to do that? Is it the highest and best use of your time? And even if you are the best person to do it, is there something else that you are the only person who can make that happen?" And so it really structured my way of thinking when I was thinking about, is this task the highest and best use of my time? Because it's not necessarily the same. The best use of your time is not necessarily the highest use of your time. And so we have to figure out, how do we balance those those things. The other thing that I think too, as a business owner, and it's really, really hard to do, but you have to be very self-aware to be successful at this. And I've had to learn a lot about myself and look in the mirror and say, okay, yes, can you do short bursts of data cleaning? Absolutely. Should you be doing that? No, for two reasons. One, you hate it and you start to resent it. And two, you're not that good at it. So like
Yeah.
let somebody else do it. And so like having that realization that there are things that maybe you did have to do it because you were the business owner, but now you have people, let them have the things that they want to do and that they're good at, because that's why you hired them in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And really live in that box. When you think of a quadrant, live in the box that says that, something that you love to do. So you love it and you're great at it. And if you focus your energy there, sky's the limit. And really it's about, like, to your point, Alyssa, it's really about working on yourself, right? So you, have to take time to work on yourself. And a phrase that I hear a lot that I hate is, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. Well, that's false. And not only is it false, but it's a huge, major disadvantage. And to your point of, delegating those things that you just don't like to do or you're not good at, give it to somebody who is. Not only is it going to fill their cup, but they're going to do it 10 times better than you are. So, even if you're hanging on a little bit, try it. Give it to them when they're 80%, 90% ready for it. They're going to take it well past your capacity to do it. And it's such a powerful tool. I love the little quadrant. I shut it up and I have a love it, like it, and I have a good at it, not good at it. And I put all my tasks inside there. And I'd love to live in that upper quadrant of, these are the things that I love to do. And these are the things that I'm great at. And everything else, I need to find a way to get them off my plate.
And I think too, again, all self-awareness, all working on yourself. And a lot of this is hard to do when it's just like you, right? Owning a business, being a founder, it's a surprisingly lonely place to be, because people just can't quite relate to it, right? I was having a conversation with someone a few days ago where I said, oh, we're going to Hawaii at the end of the month, but I have a huge project for my important client that's going to be due the week that I get back. So I'm just planning on, we're like, 8 hours behind. So I'll get up early so that I'm, can do an hour or two of work during the day. And they were like, well, you're on vacation. Why would you do that? And I said, well, I'm the owner. So like, if I don't do it, it kind of doesn't happen. Right. And it's for something that I legitimately have to do. Like I legitimately cannot delegate it. And it just never occurred to them that like you have to do things even if you're not quote unquote on the clock. But one of the things that was really life changing for me, and someone made the comment and kind of like held up a mirror to me. Actually, it was on a podcast. We were talking about delegation. And she goes, okay, what's your deal on delegation? Is it just like you have a very specific way that you want things done and like people don't do it your way, so therefore you'd rather just not have them do it? And I came to the realization on the podcast that actually, no, that wasn't my issue with delegation. I realized that I had created a persona for myself around being the one who makes it happen and the gets it done person. And like, I realized like, oh, I have created almost like a martyr persona for myself, in that like, I'm the one who works 75 hours a week and you guys get to work your 9 to 5s and you have work-life balance because I'm picking up all the slack and I'm doing all the stuff and you guys have everything. But I'm the one who makes it happen. I'm the only martyr in the company. And once I finally realized, like, I'm like, oh, okay, no, that is what I'm doing. And then the next phase of that, I had an employee who came to me and said, hey, when you don't delegate stuff to me, that is inhibiting my growth. And I was like, oh my God, I'm here thinking like I'm saving you from stress and giving you and helping you get work-life balance. And then what I'm really doing is keeping them from growing,
Yeah, you're not
keeping
giving them
them
a
from
path.
reaching the opportunities I had.
Yep.
And that really just changed my whole perspective.
Absolutely. So, so in that instance, obviously you have somebody to give something to, but back before, when you're talking about, what about the solopreneur, right? This person who's always out, they got stuff to do. That, that hits with me. Like, what I hate doing? I hate logging stuff in the CRM. It drives me bananas. But anyways, I'll get back to that in just a second. What I want to hit on is two things to help people start thinking not of today, but of the future. You need to be good at predicting. You can't solve today's fires all the time today, right? You need to get ahead of them. And one thing that I did to give myself more time is I found that I was saying yes way too often.
Mm.
And I needed the word no to protect my own time. And once I started doing that, because every opportunity is exciting, right? But once I started saying no, I was able to really figure out what I was really good at, what I wanted to focus my time and energy and effort on, and then everything else stayed to the side. And it really just clarified where I was going. And it gave me this vision of, okay, this is what I want to focus on. This is what I'm really good at. This is what fills my cup. Yes, I still have those mundane tasks that eventually, you know what, at some point, it's going to make sense. I'm just going to hire somebody to do it. Yeah, I'm a solopreneur, but if I can find a virtual assistant to do this for me 10 hours a week and I don't have to ever touch it, yes, please. So sometimes it does take that, right? But again, trying to understand, what do you truly want to work on? And what can you say no to? And what do you really want to say yes to if that opportunity came to you? And then start getting ahead of yourself, start predicting on what's going to happen so you don't run into fires of, oh man, I'm supposed to be gone next week, but this thing's happening 2 weeks from now and I got to do it when I'm gone. Yeah. And being a hero is so addictive, right? And protecting people's time
there's
is so
nothing better
addictive.
than being like, Alyssa saved the day once.
Right. Right. But it doesn't do anything for you in the long term.
So one of the things that I'm really trying to do right now, and however you feel about AI, I am dabbling in like the world of like AI and vibe coding and trying to figure out all of the automations that I can do in my life. Because for me, like, okay, so we talked about like finding the thing that you love and finding the thing that you're really good at. I love working. And I know that that sounds like something stupid and cliche, but like I legitimately am so excited for like Monday mornings. Like I have a sister podcast that's called Taking Back Monday because I love Monday. I think Monday is great. I'm so happy Monday through Friday. I love my job. I love what I'm working on. I hate like dishes and groceries and mowing the lawn and doing those things. And so like sometimes I think too, as a business owner, yes, you need to delegate to your team. Yes, you hired them for a reason, but I would much rather work on my business 60, 75 hours a week because I love it legitimately than go grocery shopping and like shuttle the kids around to their various activities. So we've actually taken a tack where I allow myself to work more because I enjoy it and I'm happy. And we've hired almost like households helper
Yeah.
to delegate things to. So like we have a guy that comes and mows our lawn twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I use Instacart to do my grocery shopping. And we have a college student who helps me run kids to the various, sports practices throughout the year because we decided between household management and the business, my highest and best use was on my business.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's really finding that line again, like you think of the ROI of that, right? And yes, there's a financial ROI, but there's also that fulfillment ROI that I think needs to come into play here, right? And saying, okay, not only is it something I actually hate to do and it's stopping me from doing something that I love, but hey, if I spend the time on the stuff that I love financially, it's going to be better off than the money I'm spending to have somebody mow my lawn for me or paying DoorDash to drop my groceries off.
Right. I saw a TikTok, I think it was, that was like, hey guys, Bill Gates doesn't mow his own lawn. Right. And like, if you want to reach those pinnacles, and I think too, that's a mindset in your own personal life, but also like a mindset in your business. Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
The most successful companies, their CEO is not spending days and days and days reconciling the credit card bill against the, the payments that went out and all of that stuff. Like that stuff you have to do when you're a solopreneur. It's just part of it. However, like when there's an opportunity to offload something that is not your highest and
Mm-hmm.
best use, we got to take it
Yep.
and seize it. And then to your point earlier, actually let it go and let somebody else do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you delegate, you have to delegate not only the task, but the ownership. That's the key of delegation. So
Yeah.
it doesn't help if you just have somebody do, and then they're sending it to you to, again, ask you every little question of the thing that may not be fit inside the box of what's happening. Or, if you're approving a $10 charge or $100 charge on a credit card to our leadership member or team member, that's not helping anybody. Like, give them the ownership. You gave them the test credit card to go buy the thing, trust them.
Right. Well, and two, like, I like to put it in terms of dollars. Like, in the time it took you to approve
Yeah.
that $10 credit card charge, you've wasted $10 of billable time on something else.
At least. Yep.
So, okay,
Absolutely.
so you made a good point though, like offloading the task versus giving the ownership. One, how do we start to do that? Like, what kind of like mental, psychological things do we need to go through to make that possible? And two, I think there is I'm not going to say it's generational because I don't want to sound like an old lady, but like, how do we start to help our employees understand that this is a safe place to actually take ownership, that they can do things and use their best judgment and use their critical thinking skills? Because sometimes I think that our employees fall back on asking us because they think that they would rather ask us the question than make a mistake
Mhm.
or risk us being pissed at them.
Yeah. And that's often a symptom of not creating enough clarity. And so when the team's confused, they don't move. Right. So that's the easiest phrase I can put that in. So, and that goes everything to where you want to go from the vision of the organization to what's the top priority to what's an expectation. And so when you don't have that, it creates friction and it creates confusion. And so it's really sitting down and saying, okay, employee or organization, here's where we're going. Here's our top priorities. Here's how we're going to get there. Make your decisions based on this information. And if something comes across your desk and say, hey, we got to make a call. Should we dive into this production or dive into that production? Okay, what's our top priority? What is the most important thing for us to figure out?
Right.
That's your answer. And so that's the biggest thing. A lot of it is systemizing, or at least create that clarity, document what you can, and have conversations and explain expectations.
Right. I hear what you're saying, and one of the things that I'm like really struggling with, not with anyone I'm working with now, but like I've struggled with people in the past where like they would give me something, and maybe it's a clarity thing. Like they would give me something, I'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, did you think about, this, this, and this?" And
Yeah.
I'm like reacting to it, and they're like, "Oh no, I didn't think about that." And so from my perspective, I'm sitting there thinking like, these seem obvious to me. And part of that's my experience, and part of that's like, this is my thing and I care about it, right?
Mhm.
So like, I'm always thinking about these things. I am always churning in the background.
Yeah.
But how do when we give ownership, I want people to look at it and say, my name is on this.
Yeah.
Yes, I might not own the company, but I own this piece,
Mhm.
this little piece of the fiefdom, right?
Yep.
And, you know, how do I instill in my employees, like, are you proud of this work?
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
So I will say, like, and this is a fact, I can't remember exactly where this is at, but 82% of the issues that any organization will run into are people issues.
Yeah.
And so this is really figuring out, is it an expectation or a clarity issue? Or is this person not sitting in the right seat? Do they not have the capacity or the want or the drive, or do they understand the role that they're in? And if those answers are no, we have to make a change. And that's tough. But if those answers are yes, then it's a clarity problem. So you kind of go back to that as saying, okay, is this the person right for the seat? Do they understand our organization? Do they understand our values? Do they fit those values? Do they get the seat they're in, the role they're supposed to be doing? Do they want to sit there? That's a question some people need to answer too. And then do they have capacity to do it? Is it whether that's time, whether that's experience, whether that's the capacity to learn how to do it? And if one of those answers are no, well, that's a different issue you need to solve. So a lot of times it's, again, digging down to the root. What is the true issue? What's the true issue?
We've been talking a lot of this from an internal perspective, right? Like from ownership and delegation and being the hero and all of that. How does getting this right internally impact our ultimate goal, which is external growth, acquiring customers, bringing people in? Like, I guess make the case for why we should spend time working on this when I've got customers beating down my door that I'd rather spend my time and focus on.
Have you ever tried to build a house on sand?
I have not, but I can imagine it would not go very well.
You have to have a strong foundation, right? And so if you have systems and the foundation in place, scalability comes because now you have something to rely on to the point where if you start scaling before you have a solid foundation, things are going to get real wobbly and it might work. It might work for a while, but eventually you're going to hit a tipping point where that thing's going to start swaying and you have no foundation for it to land on. So it's going to topple.
Mm-hmm.
So to make the argument is I would challenge people to say how it could work without it.
And your point is well taken too, of like, okay, maybe you can build a tent on sand. You can build a little shack on sand, maybe, right? Small structures, whatever. But the minute you start to get a real actual foundation, like an actual structure going,
It's got to have
it's gonna collapse. I've never really thought about it that way. Like I grew up in like Christian private school, so we talked about like the house on the sand, house on the rock, right? The biblical parable there. So I immediately was like, oh yeah, I've heard that song that I sang in elementary school. But the thing that I think I struggle as, and like this is basically therapy at this point, is it's almost like the squeakiest wheel gets the attention, right? And a lot of and clients, I will tell you, like I'm gonna drop everything to go do whatever I need to do for them. And it can make it really hard to take the time to slow down and to look internal and to look at process because it's not fun and it's not sexy. Nobody's clapping for you when you have really thoughtful process, but they are clapping for you when you close a deal.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Watch that hero complex. This is really just therapy for me at this point.
That's fine. That's great. I love this conversation. Really, it kind of goes back to the leader of the organization, the owner, the team. You have to work on the business before you can work in the business. So you gotta take a time, quarterly, every 90 days, what have you, to really sit down and work on the business. Clarify as a group where they're going, making sure everybody's on that same page, and then setting up a structure that holds people accountable and creates discipline inside the organization. And ultimately, what that's going to allow you to do is build trust. And with trust comes real issue solving ability because people actually call out issues. And that's where accountability comes from. If we trust each other, we're able to say, hey, there's a problem here. I'm a firm believer that if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your customer. So you water internally, it will grow and take care of everything else. Think of it like kind of like a tree, right? Your employees, if you water and nurture that tree, it's going to get big enough. It's going to shade everything. I'm a firm believer of that. So if you focus inward, it will shine outward.
Considering all the people that you know or aspire to know, who else is out there? Who else do we need to be listening to?
Yeah. So this is totally off the beaten path. Okay. So I'll give you two podcasts that I really, really like. One is called Hitting the Ceiling. It's going to cover a lot of the stuff we talked about today. Just people that, to your point before, started growing, something happened, derailed, how they get it back. The other one is completely more about just positivity, really good self awareness, doing awesome things. It's called the Choose Strong podcast. It's by Sally McRae. She's actually an ultra marathoner. Super inspiring stuff. She's got an awesome story. I think everybody should listen to that. And it's family friendly, so it's great for kids too.
I love that. My son is an athlete, so we're always looking for that mental side of things that is so important to their success. So I'm going to have to check out both of those.
Yes.
And if someone is really connecting with you, they want to learn more, they want to find you, where can they find you online?
Yeah. So LinkedIn, probably the easiest place to find me. It's Nathan Wolter, Wolter. You'll find me as a professional EOS implementer, and I help organizations get what they want out of their business. That's the whole purpose of what I do is to help leaders and owners. That's the easiest. Or otherwise, you can go to nathanwolter.com and it'll redirect you to my EOS page, and you can find out all the good stuff about it.
And if you are looking for me, you can also find me on LinkedIn. Search Alyssa Nolte, and if you find the Notorious Plant Killer, you know you have found the right Alyssa Nolte. I also write on Substack under Alyssa Likes to Talk. Nathan, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. I loved this conversation. I'm going to be singing I Got 99 Problems, and I am probably all of them in my head for the rest of the day. You got to trademark that. But I also think it's really important, the practical ideas that you gave today of, what are you great at and what do you love? And how do you live in that upper quadrant?
Yeah.
And then how do we take people from I want it done right versus I have to do it myself, and say, I want it done right. And I can trust the people that I've brought on because I did that right, because I did that
Mm.
to do it for me and do it on my behalf and take care of my customers. So thank you for having this chat with me today. I love this conversation. I know the audience did as well.
Yeah, thank you. I had such a fun time, and hope we get to chat again soon.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. There are millions of podcasts out there, and something like 70,000 new episodes are released every single day. It's not lost on me how lucky I am to have such an incredible community who show up and support this show. To be a guest or nominate someone who should join me on the pod, head to alyssanolte.com. And if you're looking for ad-free episodes, you can join me on Substack. I post all new episodes of my podcasts and share appearances on other people's shows, plus bonus content and updates on what I'm working on. Search Alyssa Likes to Talk or tap the link in the show notes.